Welcome back for part 2 of my 48 button um, attempt. That's what I call these things, attempts. I'm attempting something. And let's just get into it, shall we? We're going to need to desolder every single one of these. And here we go. Stabilizer clips. Yeah, and especially if I'm trying to maintain the same distance from the chips with these wires. Sorry, I know that seemed like a response to something that someone might have asked, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Alright, now that that's taken care of, boy, look at those delicious wire jackets. So, we're going to go power, data out, ground data in, clock, latch, clock. That's how I think I'm going to do it. Then what I've got to do is come up with what we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I already did it. Look at that. Hooray. Must have been when I was doing a dozen things at once. Just before I started recording my videos. In fact, most of this was done off camera anyway. In fact, all of it was. Taking some pictures, but like nothing really all that. Alright, data, clock, latch, clock, data. See, and I like making my own little helping hands things because I just get a bunch of gator clips and I can make them cheaper than this thing probably cost, I don't know, $12 at like Harbor Freight or something somewhere. I most likely I got it at Harbor Freight. And that was just because I needed something at the time. There's no real good way this is one to lock on. There we go. Maybe. And that's what we agreed upon, right? Was data latch data. Or no, clock latch clock. Ground. Data in. Clock for the data in. Latch for both. Clock for data out. Data out. 5 volts. I mean, I don't care if you did or didn't agree with it. That's what I'm going with. Latch right here. That way it's at least somewhat relatively palindromic. What do they call that one? Symmetrical. Tell you what, I'm going to start soldering these in just so that if anything goes awry, I'm not having to do this all over again. I'm just going to clip it to the other board instead of trying to make it all flush with it. sometimes when there's not quite enough wire to make a big solder bridge, like on some of these, what I'll do is I'll take a piece of LED pin wire, just stick it up between them, clip it off when I'm done. It works. I have a problem with this here. I think that'll probably work out perfectly now. That one not so much. We're almost at 15 minutes. Look at that. Like I said in the last video, it surprised me how long doing one small task, such as this, takes. "15 minutes to solder 7 pins together." And then there was a little bit of banter in between. I mean, whatever. Now that I have that taken care of, time to test it. I might actually run some power switches to a little breakout that goes up here. So the way this is going to run is, I believe, like this. So this would be 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. And then this would just read as let's say 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32 would be the input. And then based on whether or not it's, let's say, 64 plus 32 would be what What function to make the button do? Who knows? I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing with this. I just want to get it to work first. And then, I mean, most likely it's going to be something to do with MIDI controller, because that's what a majority of me working on these things has somewhat turned into, because you can almost universally use a MIDI controller to do many things. And I mean, this is not an Arduino, but let's just say it was. I mean, it's Arduino-ish compatible. It's an ATtiny, but it doesn't have native serial USB. It uses a faux USB. Anyway, let's just pretend this is an Arduino. So this connected to this, and it's telling it button 64-8 is pressed, which would be that one, maybe? I don't know. And it says that one's being pressed. Well, I mean, the Arduino can interpret that and then say Z button or Control X, Control Y, whatever, copy cut, you know? It could do volume up on the computer. It can do, it could just make an LED turn on. Who cares, really? And, yeah, I mean, that's what these ones would be mainly used for, is just have LEDs hooked up to them, turn them on, turn them off, because it wouldn't be able to directly communicate with a computer. But like I could hook up to like these two and hook it to another one that is talking to the computer. And I can also just chain a bunch of these together, have them all talk to the one Arduino that's talking to the computer, and just have this massive setup of things. I'm sure the commercial MIDI controllers do different things, but like it's whatever. I'm sure there's some sort of specialty microcontroller that is proprietary and that they designed like their own ASIC. And then you definitely have an ASIC in there that says this is a Hercules controller, or this is a Newmark controller, or this is a Pioneer. You know, it's they all have their own data signature, is what I'm saying. But anyway, that's enough rambling from me. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to be a good werewolf. Like and subscribe.